to okay.
Okay. Hey, it's a beautiful morning here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here with Dr. Teresa Larson. Remind me where you're at, Teresa.
I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Beautiful Lincoln, Nebraska. And
It's nice and cold.
you've been with Softwave as a provider since 2021, right?
2021.
You've been a
Yes.
Pinnacle doctor for since when?
Over 20 years.
20 years in Pinnacle. And what
Hmm.
everybody I meet from Pinnacle is just outstanding. And they're just they run lean, mean practices and
Hmm.
high volume too. You guys, you're working your
Hmm.
tail off. So um,
Hmm.
so you have a crazy story. Before you got into Softwave, you hurt your neck pretty bad, and you were
Hmm.
scheduled for cervical surgery and joint replacement.
Hmm.
All right, so tell us what
Yes.
happened. How did the injury happen?
Actually, there was really no injury that we know of. Essentially, that's the crazy part about my story too, is I'm one of those people too that just kind of woke up one day and rolled over and I had some neck pain. I thought I just slept wrong and, had some pain between my shoulders. And, it happened on the weekend. So I was like, well, when I get back to the office, I'll get adjusted. I'll do some muscle stim, I'll, do some acupuncture, I'll do things that, just get this better. And within a week of doing those things, I wasn't getting better. I was actually getting worse. I'm starting to have pain down my arm, numbness and tingling in my, my index finger and my thumb. So I took some x-rays, same thing. There was nothing on x-ray that looked scary or big or bad, nothing that I hadn't seen before. And so I continued to practice. I continued to do therapies and see other doctors to get treated. And eventually, within 4 weeks, I couldn't practice. I couldn't function. I could barely get out of bed. And so I knew I was going to have an MRI, have to have, an epidural, start looking at other options. And so I was out of practice for about 6 months and I was trying to find every alternative to not having a disc replacement surgery. Um, I came across Softwave at that time, and Dr. Mike Southwick had a unit. And so I would travel to his office and he would treat me. I
You got some
eventually
relief,
had to have
right? Did you get some
yes,
relief?
and I did. So I actually found Dr. Southwick about 2 weeks before my surgery was scheduled. And he treated me several times, and I would feel better, and then it would kind of just gradually creep up. And I think at that point in time, Dr. Southwick really, um, he was amazing, and he really tried to keep me on the path of doing soft wave. But mentally, I was tired. I could not do it any longer. I had been in pain for so long. I'd been out of practice for over 6 months, and I had made the decision that um, I
Have the
I needed to do
surgery.
this.
You had the surgery and you had the
Mhm.
joint replacements
Yep.
and then your recovery. Tell me about that.
So then after my recovery, essentially, I kept in contact with Dr. Southwick, and he, was very supportive. And so immediately, within days of my surgery, I literally laid in the back seat of a vehicle and drove, had somebody drive me to his office so he could treat me. And I just started getting treated consistently with the soft wave, and it really, really turned my healing time around. I eventually brought the soft wave into my office and started treating myself too. But I know that it's what kept me or was able to practice again. Whenever I came back from my surgery to practice, the doctors told me that I'd be completely fine, that I could go back to practice, just limited hours. And but I was a high volume practice, I was
We're seeing
seeing over
100
100
people a
patients a
week
day.
or 100 a
And whenever I
day.
came back
Yeah.
a day, and I couldn't adjust 50 people without pain or with my arms hurting or those type of things. So I really had to scale back. But now I'm back to, within about 6 months, I started noticing big changes where I was able to adjust more, do more. And Softwave really, really helped me get back on that path.
You know, that's a great story and I love it. I love following that journey. I went through it as well. 17 years ago, I was out of work for 3 years. So I know you go from who's who to who's that to who cares. And the
Hmm.
fact that you were able to have a wonderful team around you and a staff that kept your clinic going. Associate doctor?
No, well, I just actually had Pinnacle doctors slip in and help cover my office. Dr. Russ Corey, whenever I was really down, I called him on a Sunday and said, "Hey, I don't know what I'm going to do. What can I do?" And within hours, he had my practice covered for over 2 weeks with Pinnacle doctors stepping in and taking care of me.
That's amazing. Shout out to Dr. Corey. What a good
Yep.
man. He's been
Yep.
you both of you have been such
Hmm.
amazing champions of
Hmm.
software.
Hmm.
I'll get this into, I think, at least 2 dozen of your Pinnacle doctors.
Hmm.
Would you
Yeah,
guesstimate?
there's been
20?
quite a few. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's going to
Yeah.
be more. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like we picked a very rigorous type of profession to be in. And it wear
Right.
and tear on our body. I thought we were going to be 35
Hmm.
or 40 years old the rest of our life. But
Right.
watching those chiros that practice into their 70s and 80s,
Hmm.
that's what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
And so
Uh,
this gave me and you the most wonderful ability to practice and work with other people. So
correct.
thank you for that story.